updated Volkswagen Golf is here, and while little hatchbacks like this don't sell in big numbers like they used to, this car has some really impressive attributes that might make you reconsider whether you actually need a small SUV and should be going for something like this instead. I'll tell you all about the range, the best alternatives to it, show you what it's like to drive, and show you inside as well. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell, and let's check out the 8.5 Volkswagen Golf range. There have been some changes in the lineup when it comes to the pricing for the different versions of the Golf, and the entry-level version, the 110 TSI Life, has actually seen a price reduction, but it's also seen an equipment reduction. So it's now missing things that you got before, like ambient lighting and 3-zone climate control. It has stepped up from a 10-inch screen to a 10.3-inch screen. Now that includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And as standard, you're also getting things like 17-inch alloy wheels, LED lights, it gets cloth interior trim, keyless entry, single zone climate control, parking sensors and park assist so it can park itself, and a few other good features beyond that. Up from there is the style grade. It does cost you a bit of extra money, but it adds the things back in that were taken out of the base grade. So you get the ambient lighting, you get the 3-zone climate control, but you also get larger 18-inch alloy wheels, better LED plus headlights, and beyond that is this one here, the Golf R-Line. Now it does have a few extra features it'd want to, because the price is quite high. It's gone up by $5.5 grand for this updated version, but it's getting a heap of standard equipment that you might really, really like, including this R-Line exterior design package, which also carries on to the interior. You get progressive steering, a sport mode driving profile, plus there's Vienna leather appointed upholstery, heated and ventilated front seats, and electric driver's seat with memory settings. This particular R-Line does have some options fitted: the panoramic glass roof, you'll see the price for it on your screen now, and also the sound and vision package, which includes an 8-speaker stereo with a subwoofer, plus it also gets a surround view camera system as standard and a head-up display too. So probably money well spent, I'd suggest. I think if you're looking for something that is sporty looking, but maybe not as sporty to drive as some of the high-spec versions of the Golf, then this one could be a goer. Now, I have driven the updated Golf GTI. You'll find a link in the description below, and I've also got a Golf R review coming soon too. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll see it when it pops up. Otherwise, I'll put a link in the description too. Right, let's talk about some alternatives if you're thinking about a hatchback. The Toyota Corolla hatchback is one of the best on the market. It's smaller than this and feels a bit cramped inside. That's a big issue for some people, but the Corolla hatch is still one of the most efficient little cars on the market. The pricing starts at just over $30,000 and it is a hybrid only lineup. And well, look, if you can make your family fit in there, it will be a great car to live with because it's really, really lovable to drive. Another option you might want to consider if you need a bit more space and practicality is the Skoda Scala. It starts at around 33 drive away and it gets plenty of great features. It might not have as much bling and as many things as a high-spec Golf, but it costs a whole lot less in the entry-level grade. And I really like the Skoda Scala. Super practical, big boot and big back seat as well. And if you are looking for something a little bit different, I reckon you should have a look at the Honda Civic. If your budget can justify about 50 grand for a small hatchback, you'll be getting a very enjoyable experience, hybrid powertrain, lovely interior finishing, lots of practicality, and very, very comfortable to drive and great to drive as well. So the Honda Civic could be a great one. If you don't like the Golf, what would you do? Have your say in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Small, isn't it? Well, that's the thing with the Volkswagen Golf. Lots of other hatchbacks have gotten bigger and more bulbous and, well, a bit flabby. This car is still quite compact. At less than 4.3 meters long, you'll see all the dimensions on your screen now, it is a small hatchback, and I love that about it. It also has quite small ground clearance, so keep that in mind. It's not a gutter hopper. If you want that, buy a T-Roc or maybe something else. But let's have a look at the back end. Not much in terms of big changes, but it's still a smooth looking piece of design. Now this R-Line one does get some extra sporty elements at the bottom there, as you can see. It also gets little R badges. I should have showed you that up there. There you go. And those wheels are specific. The black side sill as well. So it is certainly a little bit sportier looking than the other versions. Now let's have a look in the boot here, and you'll see right there, it's the same as it was before, 380 litres or so of cargo capacity. That's a good amount of space, and it does have an adjustable floor, so you can put it up a little higher if you don't want to lift things in and out quite as much. Let me show you that, and like so. So there's still a bit of a ledge there, but honestly, it's pretty good. And you do get a spare wheel still, which is another nice bonus. It's a space saver, but at least you get one. There's little storage sections on the side. You've got shopping bag hooks, a 12-volt port, a light, and on the other side, another shopping bag hook and more extra storage. And one other thing I really like about it, if you do need to put that up, you can just put it up like so. There's little holders that keep it in place. Very, very handy. Nice and practical. Now let's check out the rest of the interior. Okay, let's have a look at the interior of this R-Line version of the Golf. Now it is a bit more upmarket than the other versions because it gets this R-Line trim on the inside. It looks fantastic. This seat trim is awesome. It's Vienna leather. They're ventilated and heated. And if you're wondering how you control them, there's these little controls right here. So that's ventilation, that's heating. You can have both on at the same time if you want, apparently. So that is great. These seats are so comfy and beautiful. And look, let's have a look at some of the other interior trim. So I like this finish here. It's breaking this up quite nicely. I don't like this massive swathe of shiny black, but I do like that you don't have shiny black on the steering wheel like you do in a Golf R. So you've got a steering wheel heating button, which is actually a button, and they're not capacitive. So it means that you actually have to press them to get things to work. I love that. And yeah, who would have thought buttons could do it for you quite so much as they do. Now on the screen here, which is a standard digital instrument cluster, you do have a few different views available. If you want to cycle through them, there are controls on the steering wheel to do so. And look, I think that that is very good tech and it's easy to get your head around, so it's a nice touch. Now, beyond that, you've also got this screen right here, which is the 12.9-inch touchscreen media system. So the entry-level grade gets a smaller screen, but it's sort of the same design, and it still gets the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that you can see active right now. And if I go back to the home screen, there are a few other controls on the screen here that we can have a look at. So you do have background lighting, so an ambient light system if you want to use that. You've also got sat-nav as standard and a voice control system there as well. You can go in and adjust the sound for this upgraded Harman Kardon system on the screen, because this one does have the sound and vision package, and that is pretty handy. It also means that if you buy the one with the sound and vision package, you get the surround view camera system. That's not standard on any other versions of the Golf. In fact, you have to spend up to Golf R to get this standard. So yes, it is something that might be worth considering if you're a nervous parker. Now, there's also a car controls system, so you can quickly jump into certain controls there if you want to. And speaking of jumping into things quickly, you've got drive modes here. You do get a sport mode for the R-Line, and you can individualize some settings if you want to as well. It doesn't have adaptive dampers or anything like that, but you can adjust a few different elements if you want to, or just have it in comfort, eco, or sport. And there's also this little button right here, so it will allow you to turn off some things if you aren't loving the way that the safety systems are behaving. I typically turn off the lane keep assist because I just find it a little bit annoying in some situations, but in this car it seems to be actually pretty good. And generally, I think this screen is something you will get used to if you're just the sort of person who uses Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Be mindful, it has had a few little glitches here and there, as I've noticed over my time with this car. That's not unusual for this generation of Volkswagen software, unfortunately. But I do think that you'll get used to the controls as well. So you've got a climate system here. So Clima is your climate. You can turn that on like so. You've got a fan controller there. You do have to go on screen to adjust the fan. That's a bit annoying. No knobs and dials. But you can also do things like this. You can say, I want warm my hands or cool my feet, whatever it may be. So it'll do those things a little bit more simply if you aren't au fait with how this all behaves. But you've got some ways to adjust where the air goes there, and you've got your heated and ventilated seat controls there, as I said. You can adjust the temperature like so. There is a little scroll bar on the side there, and there's a volume scroller as well for when you're listening to media as well. Now, screen, that's enough. There's also a shortcut button for some of the controls there if you want to jump in there instead. And down below, there's a wireless phone charger in this grade. You've got a pair of USB-C ports, the little storage tray there, a stubby little shifter. Your start button is there. I don't like this shiny black, as I said. Got a electronic park brake, no auto hold, so it won't stop you from creeping forward in traffic. But you do have this clever cup holder system here. So it looks like there's not much in terms of securing a cup there, but you press that button and, well, look at that. That's neat. 12-volt port, little center console bin right there with a soft cover. There's a reasonably good glove box, lined bottle holders in the doors, which I like, soft elbow pads, and you do get grab handles there and there as well. So that's great. The sun visor situation, they don't adjust, but they do have illuminated vanity mirrors, and you've got an auto dimming rear vision mirror standard as well. No emergency services, no SOS call button because it doesn't have connected services, which is maybe a bit of a concern for some people. And up here, you'll see this particular car has the large panoramic glass roof with the shade. It's not a full closing shade, and it looks a little bit tattered already. So that's not amazing considering you have to pay extra to get it. Right, let's jump into the back seat and see whether it's spacious enough. Okay, so this seat is set for me at 6 foot tall, and my knees are pretty much up against the seat ahead as a back seat rider. Tow room, well, I've got a bit of wiggle room. There is a big transmission tunnel to contend with, so think of it as a 4-seater, not a 5-seater, is probably what I would suggest. And headroom is actually pretty good for a small hatchback. It's pretty roomy. Now back here, you've got grab handles, you've got a little hook for a coat. There are lights up here, they just turned off, and you've also got plenty of storage. Some decent sized bottle holders in the doors. There are these multi-pocket pockets on the seat backs. You've got directional air vents there as well, and this one also gets the climate control settings, so it's not working because the car's off. And down there you'll see USB-C ports by 2, plus ISOFIX points in the window seats, 3 top tethers, a flip down armrest with some cup holders, and even a ski port, which is quite handy if you need to load some long items through. You've got a little bit of practicality when you do. So it's all pretty good, I've got to say. Not bad in terms of the amenities, and maybe a little bit cramped in terms of space, but yeah, pretty comfortable. Under the bonnet of the regular versions of the Volkswagen Golf is a 1.4 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine. It has 110 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque, and it comes as standard with an 8-speed automatic transmission. No DSG anymore. Front wheel drive as standard, and it is a pretty light vehicle. The tare weight is 1,345 kilos, and it can tow up to 1,500 kilos of braked towing capacity is on offer, but be mindful the tow ball down weight is just 80 kilos. Right, let's go see what this engine and transmission is like when it comes to the drive experience. Okay, time to go for a drive in this Golf R-Line. Now it is a different drive experience to the standard versions of the Golf because it gets the progressive steering and it's a bit sportier feeling as a result. So it's like a GTI in terms of the steering responsiveness. It's very quick to respond. You also get the sport drive mode if you want to use it. Don't go thinking that you're going to get an R experience from a car like this, but it is still pretty good in terms of the drivability. In fact, it's really good. It's very enjoyable. It's quick feeling because it's very agile and responsive, and the steering is just, well, intrinsic feeling. And I think that's one of the things about the Golf that some other hatchbacks can't match, is that it just feels natural and very, very predictable. Now the ride comfort is also pretty good, I have to say. These 18-inch wheels with pretty low profile tires do a pretty good job of handling lumps and bumps in the surface, and so does the suspension, and it's, yeah, quite amenable at urban speeds, and at higher speeds it settles into its rhythms pretty well as well. But it is badly affected by road noise intrusion. If you do a lot of high speed driving, you might find that to be a turn off with this car, because it's a bit of a turn off for me, and I do a fair bit of commuting style driving. So yeah, keep that in mind. I would suggest it would be worthwhile doing a test drive on rough road surfaces if you can, if you're considering a Golf. So What about other stuff with this powertrain, for instance? Well, it's a 1.4 litre turbo. That's not unfamiliar, but the 8-speed auto is a little bit unfamiliar from some versions of the Golf in years gone by. It's not necessarily as slow to take off from a standstill. In fact, it feels quite perky when you put your foot down. I mean, the engine does. The transmission feels a little bit more forgiving, let's say. And then there's also the way that it shifts at higher speeds, which is maybe not as appealing as the DSGs of days gone by, because it's not quite as snappy feeling and maybe not as logical either. Maybe one too many ratios, in fact, because at times it can get a little bit confused at higher speeds and try and figure out what it needs to do and maybe not get it right every single time. But I think that you'll get used to it, and it is pretty good in round terms. And what might please some customers, there's no stop-start technology, so it won't turn off the engine when you come up to a standstill. What about efficiency for this Golf standard model range? Well, you'll see the official combined cycle fuel consumption figure on your screen now, and that is pretty good. Certainly not as good as some of the hybrids that I mentioned earlier on, but a good number all the same, if you can achieve it, that is. Now, over my week of testing, which has involved highway, freeway, urban, stop-start, errand running, same sort of stuff you'll probably do when you drive your Golf, well, I've seen what you'll see on screen. So that is okay. But again, I've seen better in those hybrids. So if fuel consumption is a big consideration for you, that might be worth keeping in mind. Also keep in mind, it does need 95 RON premium unleaded petrol. So that means it'll cost a little more to fill up, but the fuel tank capacity is decent, I would say. You'll see it on screen. And that should mean a reasonable distance between refills. Yeah, not too bad on the whole. In fact, quite excellent as a driver's car and as a daily commuter. The Volkswagen Golf range has a 5-star ANCAP safety rating from a couple of years ago, and it is loaded with the gear you would expect. So you've got autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection, there's lane keeping assistance, there's blind spot monitoring, front and rear cross traffic alert is standard, you get front and rear parking sensors and an auto parking system is standard, a reversing camera is standard, you can get the R-line version with the surround view camera system if you want it, but you have to spend up to the R otherwise, so yeah, maybe a bit of a miss there, but it does still also have plenty of other good tech like speed sign recognition, which won't annoy you. There is driver monitoring and it won't get on your nerves either. They're both very, very well considered, and that's one thing about the safety systems in this car. Not a lot of it will give you the shit, so that's great in my opinion. And when it comes to airbags, there are 9 fitted to this very little car, including dual front, front side, front center, there's curtain airbags, and there's also rear side airbags. Yeah, bit of an airbag festival, this one. Volkswagen Australia offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and the brand has some pretty interesting considerations when it comes to servicing. So your intervals are every 12 months and 15,000 kilometres, that's on par with most. And there's a couple of options when it comes to the servicing. So there's a cap price servicing plan for 5 years and 75,000 kilometres. And if you go with that plan, so pay as you go, well, it will cost you a bit more money than if you prepay for your servicing. There are 2 different care plans available, a 3-year and a 5-year. You'll see the pricing for them on your screen now. And that will save you, on average, quite a bit of money. I'll put the price on average for both different versions of the servicing program on your screen. So keep that in mind. If you do service with Volkswagen, they will top up your roadside assist. You get 12 months free, and then it will top up each time you go back for maintenance. And the brand also offers a guaranteed future value program if you want to finance through their services. So, hey, I reckon the ownership thing could be pretty good, but hey, I've also heard some not so good things when it comes to Volkswagen ownership. Have you? Let me know in the comments. This is a really nice little hatchback. If you are in the market for something like this, you should totally consider the Golf. While it is a little expensive to maintain and it doesn't have a hybrid powertrain, it is still a lovable little car that's pretty efficient and great to drive. Practical and thoughtful and well packaged. So what do you think about it? Have your say in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.